What is good, everybody? Juliana Page here, and we're going to talk today about a word that some resist using, some say it all the time, but it's one that to all of us is probably familiar, and it is the word overwhelm. The word overwhelm. Have you ever felt overwhelmed? Let me tell you about it. All right, here it is. I don't know if anyone's actually looked up this word, but it's quite enlightening when you actually look it up. So, overwhelm means to bury or drown beneath a huge mass. Huge mass of what? You decide. To defeat completely, give too much of a thing to someone, inundate, have a strong emotional effect on, be too strong for, or overpower. Wow, like those are all really strong and forceful words. So when we casually use the word overwhelm, yes, there's some situations where we feel like we are buried or drowning by a huge mass of something, some of it in our control, some of it not. But to defeat completely, to give too much of a thing to somebody or to inundate them or have a strong emotional effect on or be too strong for or overpower. So a couple of things. One thing I know is God doesn't give us more than we can bear, and he tells us to cast our cares upon him. And those burdens, right? Give your burdens over and he will give you rest and he'll lead you in ways of pleasantness and peace. And God doesn't overpower, inundate us with bad things. So if anybody's doing that, it is not coming from spirit. Okay. So I just want to highlight that. But I also want to acknowledge that this is a very strong word. And when we casually throw it around, we're focusing on it and we're also inviting more of that into our life. So it's really important to ask yourself, are you really defeated completely? Are you really being inundated? Are you really being overpowered, or are you being dramatic? And a lot of times we don't like to admit to the fact that we are dramatic, but if our emotions are in control, or if we're thinking the wrong thoughts and we keep overthinking them, it can feel overwhelming because there's too much of that. But a lot of that, strangely enough, is inside of our control versus outside of our control. And we get to decide what we tolerate, what we accept, what we enable, what we want more of or less of. We get to control that. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, I like to remember this phrase, done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. And I'm not saying that in the sense of your job necessarily or a project that you're working on. Sometimes aiming to pay attention to the details and excellence and all of that, that is absolutely what you should be after. But doing it and getting things done is better than not doing them at all or letting perfectionism take you into procrastination, which inevitably means you don't do it at all, right? Because those all push you away, which you can see. So here's the thing. Done is better than perfect is great with keeping your word. Great with keeping your word. Like if you say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, show up rather than be a no-show. Done is better than perfect. Sure, maybe you're a few minutes late, but get there and let your word matter that much to you, right? Or if you say you're going to deliver something, like you've given somebody your word, done is better than perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least give a first draft. At least get it out. At least send it on its way so you can get feedback and you can rework it, but not doing it at all, right? Or done is better than perfect when it comes to your daily routine. It is better to spend 15 minutes in personal development or quiet time than none at all. It is better to move your body and get a workout in for 20 minutes if that's all you have than nothing at all. Even doing some squats and some abs for 15 minutes in the floor of your bedroom before you start your day, better than nothing at all. It is better to eat good foods versus eating nothing at all. It is better, right, to take care of yourself and give yourself a timeout than continuing to push, right? Getting things done is better than having them be perfect. So think about the things that need to get done or just haven't been getting done. Why haven't they been getting done? Is it because there's intimidation about how they need to be done? Is it because it seems too much, meaning you're not clear on what actually needs to get done, because overwhelm is really just an invitation to get clear and take your next step. That's it. That's it. It's not meant to overpower or to inundate or defeat you completely at all, right? Unless you let it. But I'm sharing today that you don't have to let that happen. You don't have to allow things go unaddressed or get to the point where they do to you feel like you're being inundated, right? Or you're being overpowered by all of the things that you haven't taken action on. So if you decided that you were going to view overwhelm as just a call for clarity and your next step, how would that change things? If you have overwhelm in your business, don't go for why or how did I get here. Just decide what needs to happen and what is your next step. You might feel overwhelmed because you're not bringing in the clientele that you need, because you aren't doing the one task that's actually going to move your business forward, or you feel like you have to do 7 things. You don't. Just do a few things well and consistently, and then add on these other ones as you're ready. Okay. So for example, clarity might mean I need to build more connections, and my next step is to talk to 5 new people today. Done. That goes into a different bucket now. It's no longer in your overwhelmed bucket. It's in another bucket. You might feel overwhelmed in relationship, but a lot of times what we do in relationship is we focus on the other person and we blame the other person and we give our power to that other person, when you are the one that's in control of what you're thinking about. You are the one that's probably dealing with some emotions that aren't healthy for you. You are the one that's probably ruminating on things and dwelling on things that aren't productive, and then putting that on this other person and expecting them to fix you. Not going to work. So radical responsibility would say, where have I gotten out of alignment? Before I go take a look at that other person and figure out what they aren't doing to make me happy, because no other person can make you happy, figure out, what have you been thinking about? Have you been thinking about all the ways this person is failing you? Have you been thinking about all of the ways that this person isn't showing up for you? Well, take a self-check. Are you failing you? Are you showing up for you? What are you thinking? Do a thought inventory, right? And then from there, you'll have a solid understanding as why you might be feeling the way you've been feeling, and you can apply wisdom. What is your next step? It might be actually humbling yourself and apologizing to this other person. It might be repenting and getting your mind right and shifting direction and deciding that you're going to focus on other things, because peace is more important than whatever you might have been focusing on, right? Because you can't create when you're in a funky space, okay? Or let's say it's at work. Let's say it's at work, right? So if you're feeling overwhelmed at work, are you communicating that you need more help? Is there something that you're focusing on that's not productive? Where is the overwhelm coming from? That's not as important as what needs to get done and what is your next step. So maybe you need to confront your boss and say, hey, this is what's going on for me. I need help getting this done. Can we hire an intern? Whatever it is. But being silent and suffering silently, for example, in this case, is not productive. So done is better than perfect means there needs to be an action. Whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, it's not a call to quit. It's not a call to give up. It's not a call to be overwhelmed completely or to be defeated completely. It's actually a call to rise up, to get clear, specifically clear, and then to take your next step. That's it. That's it. And you don't have to live in overwhelm every day. You can decide that, you can tolerate that, you can allow that, you can enable that, but you don't have to. And if you decide that getting things done is better than them being perfect, you'll actually build momentum. You'll actually get new results. You'll get new feedback, and you'll be able to adapt and adjust at another level. And you'll probably break through whatever that overwhelming thing was in the first place. Interesting, right? So this is really a call to be radically responsible for your life. Do you want to live overwhelmed? Whenever somebody checks in with you and they ask how you're doing, I just feel so overwhelmed. Do you want to live that way? Or do you want to empower yourself? Do you want to get clear and take your next step? Think about it. It's an invitation. My encouragement on today is that done is better than perfect. Wherever you're procrastinating, wherever you're beating yourself up, stop. You've seen that movie before, and all it leads to is more overwhelm and feeling defeated and taking no action and getting the same results and staying stuck in the exact same spot. No. It's time for a new story. You are the one that gets to flip the script. You are the one that can change what's going on. Get clear and take your next step. Give yourself deadlines too. Give yourself structure and put accountability into your life. Let somebody know what you're going to do and when. Hire a coach. Have somebody on your team that is going to root for you, that's going to check in with you, that's going to be like, listen, I didn't see you show up today. Can you let me know what's going on? Check in with me. Build some structure and accountability into your life so that you'll show up for you and you'll make that your new normal. Otherwise, you'll get more of the same. And I have a sense that if a video like this appealed to you, something's got to give. Just saying. All right, guys, I hope this message blessed you. If you want to know about self-mastery, I've created a new course. It's over on julianapage.com, so go check that out. And if you want to follow and connect with me, you can also look at me over on Miss Juliana Page at Instagram or over on Facebook at Miss Juliana Page, all right? Until next time, guys, stay blessed.